Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the board game Viticulture Essential Edition. In this game you'll be making wine and selling it to buyers. Here's how it goes. You are going to play until at least one player reaches 20 points here. Then you finish the round and whoever has the most points wins the game. There are no bonus points at the end of the game. You score everything while you play. But again, as soon as someone reaches or passes 20, you finish the round and see who is where on the scoring track. If you have the most points, you are the winner. Before I explain how you play it, I'll tell you what happens during the game. You put vines in your fields here. You harvest those 4 grapes that go here. You turn those grapes into wine here. And you use these purple cards to sell the wine to get points and a steady income of money. Next, as I've said, there are rounds. You can look at the right of the game board to see exactly how a round goes. Step 1. Players place their rooster on one of these spaces on the left to determine the player order. Step 2. Players can choose to put workers on these yellow spaces on the left side of the board. You keep going until every player has passed. Step 3. Every player gets to take 1 card, either a yellow one or a blue one. Step 4. Every player can put their remaining workers on these blue spaces on the right side of the board. You keep going until everyone has no more workers to place. And finally, step 5. Everyone slides all their grapes and wines 1 space up on their own player board. You take all your workers back. Maybe you get some of your permanent income. Check your hand to see if you don't have more than 7 cards and finish it by passing the first player token to the person on the left. So again, quickly, each round is placing your roosters to see what the player order is, place workers on the yellow spaces, take 1 of the bonus cards, and then place workers on the blue spaces. You finish each round by sliding all these glass tokens on your own board up by 1 space and maybe getting some money. You take back your workers and you pass the first player token. Make sure you start the round with no more than 7 cards in your hand. Now, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? As I've said, you start each round by placing these roosters on one of these spaces on the left. That'll decide who gets to go first and second and so on. The person with the first player token can place her or his rooster. And then you go clockwise around the table. If you put your rooster on a space that shows an icon, that means you can immediately take that reward. It could be one of the cards or some money, or even this grey worker that only you can use as an extra worker for this round. Then, placing your workers on these yellow spaces. Keep in mind that it's up to you if you want to do that and how many workers you use. As soon as it's your turn, you can choose to pass to save the rest of your workers for the blue side, because every worker that you place on the yellow spaces doesn't come back until the end of the round. To make it easy, each space tells you exactly what it gives you. I'll explain each space later. If you play with at least 3 people, you can also use these spaces that show a little bonus that you get when you place a worker on it. So when it's your turn, you can either place 1 of your workers on the yellow space and do what it says, or you can pass and wait for the other players to also pass. The middle part of the round is easy. Going in player order, each person can take either one yellow card or one blue card from the decks. Both of those decks are bonus cards. They can help you during the game. When every player has taken a card, you move on to the blue area. When it's your turn, place one of your workers on the board and do what it says. That's it. You keep going until every player has no more workers to place. And that is how you play Viticulture. Time for some essential details. If you look at your workers, you can see that one of them is bigger than the rest. This is your Grande worker. You can use this worker the same as any other worker, but it has one special ability. When you see an action on the board that you would like to do, but every available space is already occupied by workers that were put there before, then you just put your Grande worker on the artwork and do the action. You can even do that if there's another Grande worker from another player already there. Then, I've mentioned that you can have a steady income. For that, you look at this area on the bottom right where you have your own little wine bottle. These purple cards are orders. These are goal cards. Whenever you fulfill an order, you can take points, but also move your own little wine bottle forward on this track. You can only go forwards, and once you've reached space 5, you'll stay there for the rest of the game. At the end of each round, you get as much money as where your little bottle is on this track. That is the steady income you can get at the end of each round. All there's left to explain is what each space on the board does for you. I'll go through it quickly because it basically explains itself. The yellow side first. Go here to take one green card from the deck. Go here to place one green card that you have in your hand open on your own player board. You can place it on any of the 3 fields. Just make sure you don't go over the limit of how many vines you can have. The numbers are written on the green cards. Go here to play a yellow card. Go here to get 2 money from the supply. Go here to use that money to build a building. Those are all the little player figures in your own color. You can build them onto your own player board, and the board will tell you exactly what the cost is and what it will do for you. For example, there are some green cards that you're not allowed to build unless you have a specific building on your board first. Or that you can only use the bigger wine cellars when you've built them. There's even one building that lets you have your own action space on your own board after you paid for it. And finally, go to this space to sell one or more of your grapes and get money for it. Your own player board tells you how much money you get if you remove a grape token from it. Or if you really need money, you can go to this same space to sell one of your fields. In that case, you just flip over the field card and get as much money as it says on the card. But you can't use it to place green cards until you've bought it back. You might see this one worker space at the bottom here. You can use this to place a worker on during this moment in the game, but also later when you're placing workers on the blue spaces. Plus, there is no limit to how many workers can be here. Go here to take 1 money from the supply. The blue spaces to place your worker on. I'll quickly tell you about those and then we're done. Go here to take a purple card. Go here to play a purple card. As I've said, those purple cards show goals on them. When you have what it's asking for, you can place your worker here and get the points and move your wine bottle on the steady income track. Next, you place your worker here to play a blue bonus card. If you place a worker here, you can take one of your reserve workers and place it on the building. From the next round on, you have one extra worker you can use. Place your worker here to harvest one of your fields. If you have one or more green cards on your own fields, you can take as many grapes as there are growing on that field. Don't remove the green cards, just leave them there. But place these glass tokens on your own player board here. One glass token for the red grapes and one glass token for the white grapes. Just count up all the red numbers and place that one token on that number here. Do the same for white. And the last space is this one. Go here to slide these grape tokens to this area on your own player board, and then it's wine. You can slide a token from 3 red grapes to 3 red wine. Or the same for white. Or you can combine red and white to make it rosé wine. The game calls it blush. Or you can combine them to make sparkling wine. And don't forget, at the end of each round, you get to move each token on your board one space up, grapes and wine. Of course, keep in mind that you need to build bigger wine cellars before you can do that. We are done. This is how you play Viticulture Essential Edition. The main board and your own board will help you if you read the text, so I hope you feel ready enough to give it your first try. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Feel free to leave a comment and see you for the next one.